Welcome, good morning. Good morning to everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master. We are ready for some coffee and MTG with Nikachu. The stream is like, if you're watching this live, I'm like 3 minutes late because I actually had to make my coffee. I realized, oh my God, this cup is empty. I'm on my second cup. If anyone's on their second cup of coffee, let me know in the comments section below. Give me a like. The second cup of coffee, it's not so bad, especially if it's still early in the morning. Good morning, Chris. I love repeat viewers. It's very interesting that what day are we on today? We are on day 10. Day 10. We have been really keeping this rolling, and it's been super well supported. I'm very impressed with the turnout every single day that we do this, because I think a lot of people are very interested in having. Like, who else is doing this? Who else is doing it? We've monopolized the whole sort of conversation, I don't know, medium of Magic the Gathering, and we're doing it right now on YouTube, but eventually we're going to be moving to Twitch. So good morning to everyone. Let me get myself set up here. There's me. And so good morning, Chris. Good morning, Kyoka66, Mikey, J10, Some Monster, Ben Mason. Absolutely. I do not accept your concept of time anymore. So Kyoka66, coffee in hand, merfolks on demand. With this chant, we summon the king of the fishmen. Awesome, I love it. We're gonna make a song out of this, people. We gotta make a song. The fish chant. Good morning, the Cody Hope. Good morning, Niels. I really like these streams. Good morning. I know a lot of people like these streams. Like, we're pulling in big numbers, and it keeps growing every single time that we do this. Like, we're getting consistently between like 80 to 100 people. So, you know what? I'm here to answer your questions, your inquiries into Magic the Gathering. I'm gonna give my opinion. People seem to like my opinion, so we're gonna keep going with it. Because I am not only just a Merfolk Master, but just an MTG Master, period. Or I guess, at the very least, a Modern Master. And I think I have a lot to contribute to people. And what I love is that, I'm a Merfolk Master, but non-Merfolk people are liking this channel more and more and more. I don't even know what the percentage of my Merfolk audience is anymore. I mean, in the beginning it was like 100% Merfolk. Now, today, it could be like 20%, it could be 10%. That's all good. So I'm attracting a lot of different types of people to the channel. It's becoming more useful and valuable to a wider range of an audience. So Mikey, he's stepped up to the plate with the first question. Is anyone getting more fishing videos recommended to them by the YouTube algorithm now? It's possible. I mean, let me know in the comments section below if you see like random Merfolk gameplay videos that you never thought you would really see, because you're here for the other content, but you're not necessarily here for the Merfolk gameplay, which, by the way, I recommend. You may not need to play the Merfolk deck, but I will still have a good thought process that you can learn from either way. A lot of people have told me, like, they don't play Merfolk, but they like watching someone destroy other people with Merfolk, and they still learn about Modern and Magic in general through how I articulate my thought process and how I strategize against my opponents. So good morning, Maximilian, tuning in from Austria. Oh, all the way over there in Europe. For all people out there, do not mix up Austria with Australia. They are quite the different thing. Quite different. So I'm going to take a delicious sip of my coffee. I sort of made my coffee a little bit backwards. I put some grounds in, and then I put the coffee in. I put the water in, but then I thought I put too much water, and then I'm like, okay, let's just dump like a bunch more grounds in afterwards. But whatever, it all dissolved. It's all good. I enjoyed my coffee. I need a lot of it. I didn't have the longest sleep last night. Sometimes you wake up early. Where is he? Salud. Salud likes to howl at night. Like, this is what he's doing right now. I think he is like sleeping all day, and then when it's nighttime, he's up and he has nothing to do. So he's like he's crying in a sort of a howling motion. He's an old cat, so I don't know if he has dementia or what's going on. But sometimes when he's doing that, I know he's doing it at night, and if I wake up randomly at night, I can only assume I was woken up by him. Oh, Chris is on his Fifth cup, that is sick. You know, there are some serious coffee aficionados out there. Mikey on his third cup. Tea and MTG for Will L. Hey, it's all good. I'm a tea person too. In the morning, it's all coffee. In the afternoon to evening, it's all tea. All right, so is there any questions here? Let's see. I like your channel for the competitive opinion that is also entertaining. Yes, that's great. I've been told I'm like the young Rudy from Alpha Investments, even though I think we're very similarly aged. I think we're very close to the same age. I just look younger. He must drink more than I do. But except that I'm the one who actually talks about Magic the Gathering. I've definitely heard that from like many sources now. Let's see. I like your channel for the competitive opinion. All right, Gavin Stewart, do you think modern tournaments are going to start happening again in Winnipeg? I don't know. Like it's possible. So I think Gavin Stewart is from my local area. They're trying to reopen things, and they might make some rules about how big your gatherings are. That might be the next step. So maybe in another month or two, it's possible, and they'll just like keep the tournament small. But I'm just completely speculating. It's all up to the government what they're gonna let people do. I think for now, you know, the local game stores are just not gonna have anyone, because that's like the most dangerous thing. Hey, let's start doing this thing where people come and they touch your cards, and you touch your own cards, and you exchange, and you know, a lot of potential for disaster in that situation. Ace Shaman says, Death and Taxes player here. Love your channel, Nikachu. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning, Lassie. Chris, the tribal player here. I'll play any tribe. Yeah, you know what? I noticed that I attract tribal people, you know, whether you play elves or goblins, or I don't think I really attract humans players very much. Maybe some, but not a whole lot. But a lot of people move to Merfolk because they just love tribal, and like, so they played some tribe, I don't know, elves, goblins, fairies, rogues, and they want to play competitive tribal, and it's like, hey, there's this guy who's playing competitive tribal. Do you know what's one competitive tribal deck that no one really talks about as tribal? Eldrazi-tron. Let me know what you think. Is Eldrazi-tron tribal? I think it's tribal. I mean, it's pretty weak, but like, hey, plays Eldrazi Temple. What other tribal can there be? Can't get any more tribal than that. Good afternoon, Thomas. So David, coming fast and furious. What are in your experience the toughest matchups outside Affinity and Prison? What is it that makes them difficult for Merfolk? Basically, like super fast. Anything that's really fast and hard to interact with is always difficult. So I could take humans, for example, without any like dedicated sideboard hate or something like that. It's very difficult because they're just faster, and it's really hard to interact with them, and they interact very well with us with, like, you know, Reflector Mage and Deputy of Detention. It's like it's pretty miserable. So I wouldn't say humans is a great matchup right now. Yeah, it's always these like super fast decks. Mono Red Prowess I think is bad for the same reason. Really fast, interacts with us really well. We don't interact with them very well. So I mean, those are the sort of matchups. It's usually just something very blazingly quick, and our cards don't line up. That's almost always the case. Let's see. Okay, so Mikey says, legit question, how much hand discard spells are running around the meta right now, and how much does this affect mulligan decisions? There's always Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize, and I don't think there's any more than there usually is. Okay, maybe a little bit more because people are pretty hyped about playing Jund. Now they have Lurrus and Kroxa, so maybe there's a little bit more, but I don't think it's like that concerning. How does it affect mulligan decisions? It should only affect you in games 2 and 3, or if you know you're up against a like Thoughtseize Inquisition of Kozilek deck. I would never. Okay, I don't want to say never, but in general, I don't want to make my mulligan decisions in the dark. Like if I don't know my opponent, I'm not gonna keep a greedy hand because of it. But because of the possibility of them playing Inquisition of Kozilek or Thoughtseize. But against hand discard, in general, you'll want to try to keep as many cards as possible. If the hand is like clunky, but you get to keep 7 cards, I would keep it. I don't I don't mulligan for curve personally. As a Merfolk deck. Now maybe that doesn't apply to every archetype out there, but card density does matter. Now that being said, I mean I'm not going to keep a hand that has too many lands. So like let's say I have Ether Vial, 3 lands, three threats. That's not good against Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize decks. I can do better. I would rather mulligan to a 1-lander with five other threats. That would be much better for me, in my opinion. So I will mulligan in that situation if I have like just too much air. But if I have 3 lands, 4 threats, I'll almost definitely keep something like that. So the point is I'll definitely be more greedy, especially on the draw. So I'll keep like 1-landers, for example, after I mulligan. I won't keep a 1-lander at 7. I've learned that that's just a bit too greedy, but I'm willing to take 1 more mulligan, and then at 6 I'll keep the 1-lander because I think mulliganing to 5 just doesn't have enough of a benefit. Now, that being said, I am a little bit more apt to mulligan if my Thoughtseize opponent has mulligan. So if I'm like looking at a hand that I want to keep, or like I said, like I don't want to keep, but I should keep because I'm up against a Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek deck, I will feel a little bit more comfortable taking a mulligan if my opponent took a mulligan, because they're going to be down on resources anyway. And so this is always going to happen when I'm on the draw. So they make the decision first, and then I get to decide whether I keep or mulligan. I can't give like a good hand example in this situation, but you just understand that there might be a hand where you're like, I don't like this hand, but I'm keeping because I don't want to mulligan. It's too risky against Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek decks. But then they mulligan, and then all of a sudden they open the door for you to take a mulligan because they're already down a card, so it's not so bad to take that mulligan. So anyway, so hopefully that was useful information. But I'm a little bit more greedy about keeping, and yeah, that's basically it. Raw cards do matter. Ben Doris, how viable do you think spirits are in Modern? Do you think Bant or Blue-White is better positioned at the moment? And do you think not running a companion is a huge deficit for the deck? So I think Blue-White spirits, I don't know about right now, but I know for like basically the whole year, maybe after Hogak got banned, Blue-White Spirits was super underrated in Modern. Super underrated. I think that deck was really strong. I think it was really strong. I didn't have the time to like play test it and prove its worth. That deck was very, very good. I definitely would still say that Blue-White Spirits is where you want to be, where you want to go, because Bant is like, even with my own experience with Noble Hierarch, like it's getting Coco out really early is not really, I don't think it's that valuable. I think I would just rather like grind people out with just like a tempo deck with Blue-White. You can play, there is some room to play some companions, because I know you can't play Lurrus, but if you have like a really light green splash, I guess you can play Giganta or something like that, because the Spirits deck doesn't have a lot of double blue, double white in it. It's just like white or blue in the mana cost, and that's about it. I don't know how you make that green splash. Probably right now it is a big disadvantage to not run a companion. It probably is, but I'm not entirely sure. Like Merfolk, you can run Chalice of the Void, and I don't know if that's something the Spirits community has explored, because you can. You play Cavern of Souls and you play with Ether Vial, so there is almost no harm to playing Chalice of the Void. Maybe you got to think twice about running something like Path to Exile in the same 75, but and I think Chalice of the Void is really good against Lurrus, and I think that is a very good equalizer in those matchups. So I genuinely believe that Blue-White Spirits has something. I don't know if it can compete without a companion. It's possible though, because they do have access to Chalice of the Void. So there's something there. Blue-White Spirit's definitely playable in Modern in general. So for sure, if like Lurrus gets banned, people should be exploring Blue-White Spirits a lot harder. I'm not super thrilled with banned Spirits. The problem with banned Spirits is Noble Hierarch is very easy to kill, and then or ignore. Like if you're up against the Thoughtseize deck, okay, they'll just ignore Noble Hierarch, kill everything else, and then you have nothing else to show for it anymore. Chalice of the Void is great in Spirits. We do run it. Absolutely, and Giganta is a free splash as long as you have the Horizon lands for green. That's true. I mean, so maybe you just run some, I don't know, Horizon Canopy, Waterlog Grove or something like that, and then boom. That's actually, so that's a really good point. If you play somewhere like 3 to 4, I don't really want to play 4 Horizon lands right now, but let's say you play like, I don't know, 3 Waterlog Grove or something like that. That might be enough to just run Gigantha just randomly, you know, pull it out of nowhere. So you're not giving up that much of a disadvantage. I mean, to be honest, you're not casting it that often. Well, and actually, we're running Cavernous Souls, so you have like more options. You can just play Cavernous Souls, name the whatever the hell Gigantha is, and boom, you can play Gigantha. So that you actually do have the mana a little bit more often than you think, and especially since you're waiting for 5 mana anyway, you don't need that many mana sources to make it like semi-viable. So it looks like Blue-Eyed Spirits could like pull it off. Banned Spirits, I think it's just a little gimmicky. To be honest, I just think it's I just don't think it's solid. You take a lot of damage from the mana base. I don't know if Coco's worth it anymore right now. I think it's threat light, to be honest. I think Banned Spirits is just really threat light. That's just how I feel about the deck. They ignore Noble Hierarch, just focus on the threats, and then you have like nothing to show for it, and that's very dangerous in today's metagame, which is choke full of removal. All right, you're up against like these Delver decks, these Jund decks, Mono Red Prowess, Burn. They all have like infinite removal. It's not where you want to be. So I hope that was some. I hope that was of some value to you, Ben. Greaseball 86 got a Merfolk deck that's lacking Ether Vial. What would I usually replace with it? Lands. Ideally, man lands. So one of my favorite go-to cards to replace Ether Vial is Fairy Conclave. So you don't need to go up to like 24 lands. You can go up to 22, 23. I think 23 is comfortable for me. I like the 23 route. And you just replace it with lands. And by the way, this is going to be a great main deck. It's going to be a great main deck approach against all the attrition-based decks because Ether Vial blows. I wouldn't say completely blows, but it's not that important. So if you replace Ether Vial with Fairy Conclave, now you've got like extra creatures against that deck. So instead of having Ether Vial, you have now a creature land that you can attack your opponent, which gets around Plague Engineer, which is not really around to be honest. But anyway, that is my normal budget replacement for Ether Vial. Just lands. You just need more mana. Will L, if Game Nights invited you on, what commander would you choose? Thassa, God of the Sea. Love Thassa. I think she's an underrated commander. She's indestructible, so you basically don't care about anything your opponents are doing except for like what? Cyclonic Rift, and she helps you curve out really well. If you need lands, you scry for the lands. You need spells, you scry for the spells. Makes things unblockable, and she's enormous. I think she's an underrated commander, and she's cheap. 3 mana. It's not too hard. Good morning, everyone. To anyone just tuning in right now, I'm gonna take a nice golden sip of my coffee. You're here with Coffee and MTG with Nikachu. I'm here to answer your questions, be of value to you. We're having a good time. A lot of great questions. What I really like about this is I get insight to a lot of things that you're all interested in. Like, you all ask questions I could never think about. I never knew that people would be interested in. And yeah, it's great. It's great a two-way conversation. All right, so the Cody Hope says, I can agree. After a big event, I like to borrow decks from friends for F&M. For a week or two, as a palate cleanser before returning to my primary deck, I find my gameplay is better afterwards. Can't remember what that is in response to, but yes, awesome. Dan W., good morning from Chicago. Good morning, Dan. What do you think of MTG Goldfish's tendency to split the Merfolk archetype into 37 different decks? So if anyone doesn't know what Dan is talking about, it is something pretty frustrating. I hate it. Whenever Merfolk gets published, MTG Goldfish does not categorize the Merfolk decks under Merfolk. So, I mean, if there's a Death Shadow deck, it just goes under Death Shadow. And then you can see the meta share of Death Shadow, and it's relatively high. But not so with Merfolk. So if you win with Merfolk, sometimes it goes under Merfolk. Sometimes it goes under Merfolks. They give it its own category. Sometimes they give it blue, just U, all right? They categorize it under the category of U. Sometimes they give it U green, or sorry, UG for blue-green, for Simic. Sometimes they put it under like UR if it was like a blue-red version. I think I've seen it like blue, like UB for blue black, just because I ran Dismember, some garbage like this. So it's like it's really annoying, because if you were Merfolk, at least on MTG Goldfish, looks like it's garbage, like it has no presence. But there's definitely been times where we put up a lot of results, and then like they don't sum them all up under one category, so it's completely splintered off. So instead of being like 2.5% of the metagame, we're like less than 1%, because they can't combine all the findings at once. And we're the only archetype they do this to consistently. I think Mardu Pyromancer also has this problem as well. We're not the only one that this happens to. But why does it happen to us? Just label anything with a Lord of Atlantis into Merfolk. There's no other explanation. There's like no excuse. If it has Lord of Atlantis, it's a Merfolk deck. There is no other deck that plays Lord of Atlantis. It doesn't need to be categorized anywhere else. So what happens is eventually these decks do get attributed to the right category. I don't know, like they clean everything up after 2 or 3 weeks. But at that time, they no longer count it towards the meta share anymore. Like they only count like a certain percentage of recent decks. And so Merfolk always looks like it has no presence in Modern. So it sucks. Saffron Olive, do something about this. Do something. Someone take a clip of that and send it to Saffron Olive. Only he can save us. Neil says, don't like coffee, but I sure like MTG. All right, you only have to like half of it. Ryan Metcalf says, been watching this for the past 3 days. He's a fan now. Awesome. We've been doing this for 10 days. We've been growing fans. We've been growing viewership. And it's going to be interesting what's going to happen when we move this to Twitch, because no one does this. Knowing that we're going to be like the only MTG, like, I don't know how to put it, discussion stream on Twitch. We'll probably do this, and I have I have more big ideas how we can evolve this conversation. It's great. I am very excited for this. I'm glad that it's growing and it's actually receiving a lot of like consistent attention. It's not like I started off with 120 people and then went to 0. I like started off with 120 viewers live, then it went to 80, but now it's been growing up since then. So it goes from like 80 to like 90 to 100. So last few days have been great. Thanks for all your support. I mean, if you're watching it, I'm going to keep doing it. We're going to grow this to the moon. We're going to the moon, people. Casarino says, my local game store is hosting an online sealed for Ikoria over Discord. Oh, hallelujah. That's pretty interesting. So there's a lot of events now being held online on MTG Arena in lieu of local game store play. So that's good that they're getting involved. And you can do that, by the way. So like even my local game stores are trying to hold, you know, historic and standard events on MTG Arena. So like if that's not a thing that's happening at your local game store, you got to let them know that this is a possibility. This is you notify your Facebook groups. You notify your local region, I don't know, communities on Reddit. Get the word out there if you want to start getting in some magic, but it has to be in digital form. Let's see. Nikachu News needs to incorporate. I'm on it. Nick Barth says, after Companions, I don't even like MTG anymore. I'm just here for the coffee. That's fine. You know, and like I've said, we've been here before. The Treasure Cruise era, the Eldrazi Winter, Hogak Summer, I don't know, Oko Fall, and now, what do we call this? Lura Spring? So, like, the Companion Spring. Now, I understand, like, we now have had 3 disasters in a relatively short period of time. However, Wizards has always made good with banning things and bringing balance to the format, even a long time ago. So all you have to do is wait it out if you need to wait it out. I'm sure there's a lot of other things you do. You can play your Nintendo Switch, play another format with Magic the Gathering. I don't know, some of you play Commander, the Pony format. Maybe some of you play Historic, Standard, Pioneer. Well, I don't know. Maybe Standard and Pioneer aren't any better, to be honest. But, well, it looks like Legacy and Vintage is about to get a little cleaned up. What are we waiting for? We're still waiting 3 more days? Yeah, Monday. Monday's going to be the BNR announcement. Where Lurrus is going to be in the same category as fucking Chaos Orb. Unbelievable. Like, isn't that, like, I don't know, bone shaking how something like these companions can get banned in Vintage. I mean, it's not official yet, but basically they're gonna ban Lurrus in Vintage. That's crazy. That is a category of ban that we have never seen. We don't even see with Oko. Like it takes quite a lot to get banned in Vintage, let me tell you. And never a normal card has been banned in Vintage, and we're about to see it on Monday. David says, another question. Some decks seem to run on autopilot like Tron, while others is hard to grasp how they work. What are some of the decks where skill makes the most difference? Skill makes the most difference usually whenever you have a lot of decision points and the power of the deck isn't really strong. So I think a deck that requires a lot of decision points is something like Death Shadow. Death Shadow, for example, you need to like be really good with managing your life. Like you want to lose your life. Like don't get me wrong, but you don't want to brainlessly lose your life. I mean, if you're up against an aggressive deck like Mono Red Prowess or Burn, you might be doing the work for them. And on top of that, so you need to also manage at what point of your life total is low enough that the Death Shadow gets big, but is the Death Shadow is not so big that your life total is low enough that you're in striking range to, I don't know, a lethal attack or some burn spells. So that's a very difficult deck to pilot, in my opinion. Not to mention, you have to manage your graveyard very well. For Snapcaster Mage, for Gurmag Angler, sequencing can be very, very important. So how you play your fetches, how you get the what cards you get the what cards you shock, or like what lands you get to shock yourself with. A lot of decision points in that sort of deck, but not overly powerful. Like that's the thing. The deck's not super. It has enough power to kill your opponent, but it's not an overly powerful deck. It's not like Tron, where there is, by the way, decision making in Tron. I don't want to underestimate it because I've seen through streams and stuff like that people playing Tron, and they're just like, sort of, you can't, let's just say you can't mindlessly play Tron. There is some strategy, the way you sequence out your lands and what you get with Expedition Map and how you crack your eggs and stuff like that. So there is some decision making to be made there. I understand it's not as big because the mistakes you make for missequencing with Tron, not that big. Because in the end, if you at least get Tron most of the time and slam like Karn or Ugin or whatever, then you know it's good anyway. I would love to give you one more deck where skill makes the most difference. So definitely Death Shadow. And I don't really want to say Control right now because Control is so powerful. Like it's powerful enough that like it is not. Oh, Stoneblade. Stoneblade might be tough because Stoneforge Mystic is not that easy to play. It's very vulnerable. It's very weak. So you have to be very careful about when you play Stoneforge Mystic, how you play her, and when you want to really utilize her. I think that is also a very tough, tight deck to play because it's not using all the overall powerful cards. Not always, I should say, as a normal control deck. It's like it's a little bit more diluted to play Stoneforge Mystic. So playing that package is a little bit more difficult to play. All right, let's see. Moving on. Vincietta says, if you are a human player, press F to prove you are not a robot. Akla Patsky says, Nikachu, I've been jamming Kahira Cat's Tribal on Magic the Gathering Online, and it's been doing fine. That's great. Matt Gibson says, hey, cutie. Hey, Mac. I thought, our preach. I thought this was day 9. No, this is day 10. So what is this, Friday? Yeah, this is Friday. So I've done this every single weekday, starting since last week's Monday. So that's 5 days, and this is another 5 days, and boom, we're at 10. Chris Yednak says, Eldrazi Tron definitely tribal, underrated as well. Eldrazi Tron isn't tribal, says Casarino. It's big boy ramp, thought not on turn 3. Ben Mason says, I'm not sure Affinity is even that bad anymore because of Merfolk Trickster. Pre-Mox Opal, it was still bad, but it became a lot closer. Yeah, it definitely became a lot closer. We actually had better interaction against their stupid flying card. They're flying creatures like Signal Pest. Not technically a flyer, but cannot be blocked unless otherwise. Casarino says, I play Death Shadow and pretty much never win the Merfolk matchup game 1. And frankly, I think Death Shadow is like my best matchup. I was in the last round of an open event, and my opponent knew I was on Merfolk, and they're like, and I also knew what they were on, and but they never played the matchup before. They never played Death Shadow, and they asked me, so what's this matchup like? And I said, you are my best matchup. You are my best matchup. That's what I told him. And I won 2-0, just as advertised. Nick Bars, what type of deck even is Modern Merfolk? It's not tempo, it's not zoo aggro, it's just mono blue control now. I would say it's a little bit of tempo. You know, I in the past I definitely geared it towards like more of a control deck, like more of a mid-range control deck, and like I promoted it like that because I was always very careful. I was never being aggro, but I could say that we're a little bit more tempo like. Now Merfolk Trickster is a very good tempo card. We have Brazen Borrower now, so I think there are more tempo aspects to it than before, but I still feel more comfortable in the control / mid-range area of the Merfolk deck. The Cody Hope, I'm actually currently making a video about tribal decks. I don't think Eldrazi Tron is tribal because there aren't tribal synergies and only 12 Eldrazi in the deck. The Eldrazi winter decks are rough, are though. So let's see. Okay, so what Eldrazi synergy we have? We've got Eldrazi Temple. We've got... That's the list. That's the list. That's what I got. Eldrazi Temple. When they ban Eldrazi Temple, Eldrazi Tron is not a tribal deck anymore. So, Casimoto, what do you think about playing Wilderness Reclamation in Modern right now? What shell would you choose, Temur or Sultai? Maybe Sultai? I don't know, or maybe Temur. I don't know what Temur has to offer. I know that Sultai has this, like, sort of... I think it's like a gifts ungiven package or something like that. There's some card that has flashback that you can tutor for cards. So that might be useful. It's not good right now for sure, and I'll tell you why, because Modern is still like a little too fast, and turn 4 to play this, I mean, I know you're not wasting time playing it on turn 4 because you're going to untap your lands, but still, like, to start the game at turn 4, I think it's just a little bit too slow. There needs to be a high enough payoff to really make Wilderness Reclamation, like, very good in Modern. Or it needs to be, like, completely unopposed. It can be destroyed by many things right now. It seems pretty slow and clunky at the moment. I don't know what to make it what would make it good. I'm not familiar with the Temur list, whatever that looks like, but maybe if I saw it, I could be convinced otherwise. Is it playable? Yeah, sure. I mean, to be brutally honest, I think the toughest Reclamation deck, Wilderness Reclamation deck I was up against was like it was just a control deck that just used the extra mana for mana. The Cody Hope, Eldrazi Tron is more so a name to distinguish it from Green Tron. True story. Greetings, merch. Bye, Powell. Endgame. What's up, Nikachu? What's up, Endgame? Boom. Endgame in my private Discord says, I want to be a moderator. All right, Endgame's a moderator right now. Welcome aboard. Niels asks, do you think that there will be more Master-like products, and would you like more Master sets? I guarantee it. I would almost bet my soul on it. There will definitely be Master sets. Like, that's how they're going to milk money out of us. That's how they're going to do it. And that's why they are not pushing the envelope. That's why they're not mass printing things like the fetch lands, because that's going to be their cash cow from now on. They're never going to let the fetch lands are just the reserved list dual lands now, basically. They're never going to let them go to prices like unheard of, like the reserved list dual lands, revised dual lands, because they can control it with reprints. But that's how they're going to milk their money now. Everyone needs these cards, so the master sets are going to be what's going to pay them, like pay their bills. If people want more fetch lands, then they have to open them in these extremely expensive products. And I don't think they're going to drop. I don't think they're going to drop. And as like the price of cards keep rising in Modern, ideally, so long as it's popular, they are going to, they're going to reprint them. They're going to reprint them. So yeah, definitely there's going to be more master sets. And I would like to see more. I want to see more reprints. Yeah, I have no problem. Like, it doesn't crash the prices, but hey, it'll do something. And it always offers like new art. I like new art. there's like a lot of Magic cards. I'm like, I'm not really thrilled with this art. I wish there was another one. So that gives us opportunity to have new arts. Quasimodo says, doubt about playing Temur or Sultai Snow Reclamation. If you didn't have Uro, would you play Tarmogoyf in a control shell or just more spells? Tarmogoyf is very underrated, I think, in a control deck. Maybe it's like really, really weak, it dies to everything, but it has seen play in a control deck and it did very well. Can't remember the player off the top of my head, but it has seen play in control in the past, and I think is a decent win condition in like a control deck. In fact, I also think just a Sultai mid-range deck is underrated and is just underexplored. I know I saw a little bit of it because there was some potential with like Sultai Snow mid-range with Arkham Astrolabe and Icefang Quaddle, and instead of going Bant, they went Sultai, so instead of going for the white Planeswalkers and Supreme Verdict, I can't remember what they got out of black, like Thoughtseize, the Jund stuff, the blue Jund. So like it's possible, it's possible. But I don't know if it works in a reclamation shell. What's with the Wilderness Reclamation? People love that card. Gavin Stewart asked, what does the future of Modern look like in paper with the release of Pioneer? Less complaining? Seriously, I think there's less I think there's a less complaining in Modern, or like, okay, there's different, people are complaining about the companions, but that's happening for all formats. But if we talk about specifically Modern, number one, like the things I heard people complain about for years, we're talking like for like last 6 years, I hate Chalice of the Void, I hate Blood Moon, I hate Ensnaring Bridge, I hate the Tron lands. So with Pioneer, people who hate those cards have now a format without any of those cards, none. No Tron lands, no Ensnaring Bridge, Chalice of the Void, Blood Moon, and all the crying about these oppressive cards that are in Modern not happening anymore because that community has left. So that's basically that's the future of Modern. Less whining about the power level of the format, because the only people who will play this format understand that's a give and take thing. Okay, you get to play with more powerful cards and you're going to get shut down by more powerful cards. So I think that's what's going on in this in the modern day. That's what's going to be in the future of Modern. Pioneer segregates the people who want power and who do not. Is there a Modern Spirits Master out there? Not that I know of. Oh no, okay, so there have been some dedicated Spirits players. Cat Light, she played Spirits, but I don't know if she's currently playing it. Let's see. Looking for the questions. Thank you all for this question so far. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. Oh, my delicious coffee. What's the point of coffee with Nikachu if you can't enjoy your delicious cup of joe? I think maybe that's something I gotta do. I gotta like market my own coffee and sell it to you all. That's what I'm missing in this channel. That should be my brand. That should be my product. I'm not selling Magic cards. I'm not selling Magic stuff. I'm selling coffee. I'm selling the mug, and it will come with, I don't know, some patented Nikachu bean that I buy from Brazil or something. I drink my own coffee. Although I don't have that. I don't have that in motion yet. Endgame says, does it matter to you at all that you lose the element of surprise when people know you as the Merfolk Master? I mean, yes and no. So like I said, so I have my own Nikachu MTG playmat, which is basically like this shirt, but on a playmat, and it's got the waves, the sort of master. We have pony waves. So I have this playmat. I'm playing it at a GP, and in round 1 I pull up my playmat, and after a while my opponent's like, "Hey, you're Nikachu." And then in round 2 I pull up the playmat, and it's like, "Hey, are you Nikachu?" And then I realize, oh my god, I can't do this. Like, everyone just knows what I'm playing like before they even have their starting hand. So I put the playmat away. But then, so I like try to control that by putting the playmat away. But then in future GPs, even if I have no playmat out, people just hear my voice. Like, you people know me now, and I just start like, hey, hello, good game, like, good day. Let's play some Magic. And people are like, hey, you're a Nikachu. So like, it's happening now anyway. It's not like, it's like a disadvantage it's not monumental because I've been experiencing this online anyway. Like, people will either look me up or they just know me. So I've been working with this disadvantage my entire life, and it's just how it is, you know? It's just how it is. Is it a disadvantage? Yes, but you know, it comes with, I'll tell you this much. I know that my side of the Merfolk matchup better than my opponents, for sure. So I think I compensate for that. That's how I can look at it. So it's like, it's not like a big surprise, but because the surprise only lasts for like, what, one turn? After I play like Island Ether Vial, you know, the jig is up. I don't have any element of surprise anyway. Or if they Thoughtseize or Inquisition me, it doesn't matter. So it might be an overrated surprise. Antoine asks, hi, will you make something like State of Modern video in the near future? I don't know about State of Modern, but I do intend very near in the future to give a top 10 decks that you have to beat. So, I mean, if that is basically what you're asking for, yeah, that's coming up really, really soon. I had to make sure that Lurrus wasn't going to get banned. I didn't want to make like a top 10 decks to beat and then all of a sudden Lurrus is banned and then like it renders the video useless. But now that we've got the signal that nothing's getting changed in Modern. Modern guy has to live with the companions for probably like another month and a half. I'll make a top 10 list of decks that you should be preparing for in the Modern metagame. FSTL0613. Good morning from Quebec. Je me pas la fromage noir. Any plans for another Lurrus Azorius Merfolk run? Think a build with Unsettled Mariner and Thalia could work? Yes, of course, I am going to be going back to some Lurrus Merfolk because that's definitely one of the more competitive versions right now. I don't have any plans for Unsettled Mariner. I don't really like the card. I don't really like what it offers me. I think the best matchup is probably, well, it's probably like Burn and Prowess, but that's what I have Chalice of the Void for. Like, after I jam 4 Chalice of the Void in the deck and 4 Mishra's Bauble, like, you don't have much flex spots beyond like the normal core cards. There's like, I don't know, maybe 2 slots, but I prefer to use them on like Harbinger of the Tides. Like, I want some creature interaction. So I'm not saying Unsettled Mariner is bad. There's just no more room for this sort of interaction, like, or this sort of prison-like interaction. I just prefer to play with Chalice of the Void. Now, Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, is a good card, and it does something that like Unsettled Mariner doesn't do. I don't know if we need it. It's a good card though. It's a good card. I just hope it doesn't slow down your own Mishra's Baubles and Chalice of the Void. So like might work against you then instead of working with you. Handsome Dan, good morning. Yo yo yo. John J. Combs says, lots of people I know are abandoning Modern until companions are gone. Do you think these bad decisions from Wizards of the Coast are going to negatively impact the long-term health of this game and format? Nah. I honestly don't think it's gonna negatively impact a lot. Like, if this keeps happening like every few months, like maybe, if this was a rough patch, this was like a rough year, right? So like shit's been like pretty annoying since War of the Spark. So first War of the Spark comes out and like we're like, Teferi Time Reveler, Narset, like these cards are annoying as hell. They're frustrating. They're not busted, but like they're very, very awkward to play against. You know, Affinity players basically went straight into retirement when Karn the Great Creator got printed because so many decks were playing it between Tron, Eldrazi Tron, Mono Red Prison, Ponza. So a lot of archetypes were able to slot in Karn the Great Creator, and everyone hates those cards. Then we get to Modern Horizons, and then Hogak, oh my god, and then Urza, and then a bunch of decks hated their matchup against like the new like Wurza or, you know, Uroza. Well, we're not there yet, but like the Wurza, basically the Wurza decks that got created out of that, and not to mention Faithless Looting helped push like Izzet Phoenix and also Dredge and what's it called, Mono Red Prowess over the top in that metagame as well. So whatever, they ban all that stuff. Then Oko gets printed, and now it's Oko season. Okay, we ban that, and we ban Mox Opal, and we ban Faithless Looting, and then just when we thought things could settle down, they print all these companions, and Lurrus is like just smacking us from left, right, and center. So the problem, Modern gets shaken up once in a while. It's happened in the past, and it just becomes like a dumpster file, and we have to wait for bans. But the fact that this is happening like every 3 months or less is what's becoming tiring. So it would have to continue to be like this for like Modern to legitimately shrink. To be fair, like Modern before the invention of Pioneer, Modern was at like peak participation than it ever had been before. Like when they banned Faithless Looting, unbanned Stoneforge Mystic, it was super popular. And I guarantee you, the moment like Modern is in like a really good spot and people are really excited about like, I don't know, some new fresh decks, they're gonna come back. There's a lot of people, they haven't really, they're not playing, but they didn't sell out of the cards. And even if they sell out of the cards, they're coming back because Modern is still Modern. It's still going to be like the premier format that Wizards of the Coast is always going to promote. It's going to be part of the team events. It's the Cadillac of Magic the Gathering. And I don't think it's going to be going anywhere. It's going to have like peaks and valleys pending, you know, like what the hell is going on. And right now we're in a rough spot, but it's going to figure itself out eventually in the long run. Good question for everybody. What do you prefer? Would you prefer Karn the Great Creator shutting down a bunch of archetypes and being really annoying by finding Ensnaring Bridge and all sorts of stupid artifact lock pieces? Or do you prefer Affinity Hardened Scales, Lantern Control, Krark Clan Ironworks, and all these other stupid artifact decks existing? Because I guarantee you, without the existence of Karn the Great Creator, some infinite number of dumb artifact decks would always exist or have some prominence in Modern. Wur Prison, all those things. They're all gone because of Karn the Great Creator. So while some people might hate Karn the Great Creator, I think it has cleansed Modern of all the stupid, super stupid decks. And what I really like is I think of all those super stupid decks, the most fair was Hardened Scales Affinity. Like, I'm not gonna, they were never a turn 3 deck. They were a turn 4 deck. I think that's fine. I have nothing against turn 4 decks in Modern. There's billions of turn 4 decks. Sometimes Merfolk is a turn 4 deck. So turn 4 decks I have no problem with. They were the most fair, and I don't even think they needed Mox Opal that much. Like, whatever. It was something they could quickly sack to Ravager. That's not big synergy. So I like that of all it's really stupid artifact decks, Hardened Scales Affinity is still playable. We're seeing it right now in the Lurrus metagame. And likely, when Lurrus gets banned, either Hardened Scales Affinity will still be playable, thanks to the new card, the Ozolith from Ikoria, or it's just going to be one card away from being back to its like former glory. And that's probably going to get printed, who knows, anytime soon. Or discovered. Maybe it just has to be discovered. So, you know, good for Hardened Scales Affinity. But I'd love to know, like, what do you prefer? Millions of these dumb artifact decks or this really oppressive artifact hate card? But it comes at a cost because other people get hated by Karn the Great Creator too. They find Ensnaring Bridge against me. I hate that. Boo! Boo Ensnaring Bridge. 2 thumbs down. Weirdo, I heard about you from the companion video and I wanted to ask, do you think they will make more companions? Okay, so I've been asked this question a lot. And I wanted to say no because like Mark Rosewater said something to the effect that one day companions are going to be iconic like 10 years from now. And that made me imply this was a one and done thing, but who knows, maybe they're going to make more. Maybe more are on the way. I can't tell for sure though. At first, before Mark Rosewater said anything, I thought this was just going to be a new card type. We're going to see a lot more of them. But then he opened his mouth and he made me think, maybe this is just a one and done thing, which is weird. We'd be eternally having these weird, like very few restricted companions. I don't know, very, very, very strange. So Merch by Powell, just talk to the MTG Goldfish guy and bring it up. Suggest a split into Mono Blue Merfolk and Simic Merfolk. I think he will change it. No split. We all go under the same category. No. I don't want any split. We all go, because what if we have Blue-Red Merfolk? If it has Lord of Atlantis, it all goes under one profile, in my opinion. There shouldn't be a profile for like 4-color Death Shadow and Jund Death Shadow and Grixis Death Shadow. Do it all under one. It's all good. Got to make that thing as big as possible. Because there's like so many different types of Merfolk players. A lot of people play like different variations of Merfolk decks. Like even in the last few weeks, I played like Azorius Merfolk, Dimir Merfolk, Mono Blue Merfolk, Simic Merfolk. Like the possibilities are endless, and that's one thing that people love about Merfolk. It's so adaptable and so changeable to your own play style and creativity. So like, and that's just how it is. And I don't want to get splintered off into like many different factions of categories of Merfolk. We got Willie Hall in the chat. He says it's all fishy to him. Good morning, Willie Hall. Mikey J10, what type of meta makes Vapor Snag a better choice over Dismember? Generally, when there are very large creatures, there's very large creatures, basically. There's a lot of really, really expensive creatures in the metagame. That's basically how it is. So if people are playing like a lot of 3-drops, a lot of 4-drops, a lot of 5-drops, and your first Dismember, it's fine, and maybe you can combine it with Vapor Snag, but it's like, Vapor Snag is more worthwhile when there's like 4-drops, 5-drops, 6-drops, delve creatures like Gurmag Angler. Because for 1 mana, you scoop up the card that your opponent spent 3, 4, or 5 mana on. And we just don't really see that much anymore, because like the converted mana cost of cards have like collapsed to almost nothing. So spending Vapor Snag to bounce, say, like, I don't know, a Swift Spear, not good value. Not good value at all. The Cody Hope says, I know burn-based decks have that problem. Burn and Mono Red Prowess get lumped together. Yeah, that's silly. Oh, we got a super chat. Oh, we have 2 super chats. Sorry about that, Noman. All right, so let's get to the first super chat. Noman, I dare you to make a blue-red fish with fling combo. Oh, do I have to have the fling part? What am I gonna fling? I'm just literally gonna fling like a 3-power creature or something at my opponent. But we used to do that for Troll Tuesday. We had all sorts of great Troll Merfolk decks. And one of the better ones was a Lightning Bolt deck. We called it like 8-Bolt or something like that. And we had Lightning Bolt and Wizard's Lightning, and we went 5-0 with it. So like, you know, I think Blue-Red Merfolk is a little bit, or quite a bit, underrated. I don't know what the best build is. I went off into a world where I was playing without Ether Vial, so I could utilize, I don't even remember what I was utilizing. Things like Archmage's Charm and stuff like that. But the point was that Blue-Red Merfolk has had 5-0s in the past. I've made my own 5-0. That's an underexplored archetype. That's probably everyone's like, I want to play Azorius Merfolk. I want to play Dimir Merfolk, and like, and Blue-Red Merfolk, or sorry, like, is it Merfolk's like, what am I, chopped liver? You know, what's going on here? Why am I not getting any attention? You can play with Wizard's Lightning with me. You got tons of wizards in the Merfolk deck. You have Curse Catcher, Benthic Biomancer, Silvergill Adept, Merfolk Trickster, Master of Waves. There's tons of wizards. Harbinger of the Tides. Easy splash. JK. Oh yeah, by the way, thanks for the super chat, Noman. JK, also with the super chat. Hi, what is your favorite old Magic set? What year did you start playing Magic, and what was the first booster pack you ever opened? Thanks for all the great content. Oh, you're welcome, JK. So I would say my favorite old Magic set somehow is Urza's Destiny. It is very nostalgic to me. It was around. I wasn't around that era exactly, but I was in the era. I was in the era of Urza's Destiny, I guess. Very close enough. And, you know, of course, it is the set that the Thieving Magpie was born from. Gorgeous card, by the way. And there's like a lot of really cool cards, I think, that come from Urza's Destiny that don't come from anywhere else. So like, I think Urza's Destiny is a really cool set. What year did you start playing Magic? I think it was around 1998 or 1999, if I understand from my DCI. It might have been 1998. And the first booster pack I ever opened was from Mercadian Masks, and I opened a 2-headed dragon. And you know what? Honestly, I thought that card was pretty sweet. I thought it was very flavorful. It had something to the effect of like, it can't be blocked. I think it can't be blocked by 1 creature. You need to have 2 creatures to block it. So it was, I thought it was a pretty sweet rare as my first rare. So I was pretty pumped. Oh, Masks block. I had so much bulk of that, and like some of it is like worth a lot of money now, and I threw a lot of that garbage away. Thanks for the, anyway, thanks for all the great content, and thank you very much for the super chat, JK. Thank you very much. Love it. Where are we here? Power. can't remember where I left off. Greaseball86 says, "What's your Twitch handle going to be?" I already got it. Nikachu MTG. If you want, you can already start following me. I think I have like what, 50 followers or something. I don't know. Okay, so what's the follower? Is the heart the follower, or is it the eye, the viewer, the follower? I don't even know why I have views because I haven't done anything yet. I have not streamed a damn thing on Twitch. I have no content because no content has ever been produced on Twitch. But I guess, you know what, in some way I could already, you can like stream on your phone, right? That's something you can do. I'm pretty sure that's something you can do. You can stream on your phone because I think I see a streaming option. But you know what, for now, let's do this on YouTube because I don't know how to make Twitch work. I'll just figure it out another time. Yeah, so like, yeah, Nikachu MTG, so everyone be prepared. We're not there yet. I'm still waiting for one computer part. It seems to be in transit for forever. I'm a little bit concerned, but you know, whatever. When it comes, it comes. It's gonna arrive. Tanisha Scholar 2. What is the current chess meta like? A lot of D4, a lot of Slav, because of apparently like Nakamura. He's like really sticking hard to the Slav defense, and I guess that's the meta right now. I have not honestly paid super hard attention to like what people are doing in the long time control games. I was a little bit more in tune when I was playing competitively because then I keep track of like what's going on, but I'm not that competitive right now. I'm still following it. I'm definitely still following the what's going on in chess, but like not at the super competitive level. I've been watching a lot of Rapid and Blitz games on YouTube live, and I don't think that represents the meta super well. Zero Lock, just wanted to touch base and say hi since I haven't talked with you in a few months. Hopefully I can get back to playing again soon. Hey, you can get back to playing today. If you want to play Magic online, I can't post links here, but we've got like, there is a Discord called Magic the Quarantining, something like that. Look that up. Maybe there's like a Reddit post on it. Maybe Handsome Dan, if he's in the chat, can give like, not a link because they won't show, but like, I don't know, give the address and be just creative with like .com or whatever, and maybe that will show up. A way of being able to play paper Magic over the internet with your cell phone. A lot of creative ways of doing that. So I mean, that's a thing if you want to. Adam says something similar has happened with other decks where MTG Goldfish splits an archetype into two, in which case it looks like the main archetype is less well represented. Yes, it has happened. I've seen it with a lot of Mardu decks. A lot of 3-color decks seem to have this problem. It's not just Merfolk, but we're a 2-color deck, and sometimes I want a 1-color deck. Why does that happen to us? Shouldn't happen to us at all. This is ridiculous. Chris Yedinak says Nikachu's Coffee and Magic talk show. That's right. Coffee and MTG, because that rolls off the tongue better. Wait, I don't know. It's not so easy to post the invite link. I guess you have to be like creative with it, like Handsome Dan, because like I think YouTube like just basically blocks anyone's ability to send links. Greetings, Lantern. Monster says, what chess openings would you say are good to study for someone new to openings? I would honestly say don't study openings at all. If you're someone, well, I don't know if you're, I'm assuming that if you mean you're new to openings, you're just new to the game in general, like new to playing chess. You should study middle games and end games more than the openings. Like, openings are super overrated. You can study and memorize the openings all you want, but it's like useless because eventually, you don't really like learn the soul of why you're playing the moves that you are. I think it's better to understand chess, the strategy, and then just make your opening moves based on that understanding of your knowledge of the game. But if I were to give you a better answer, like a direct answer, if you're young, so let's say you're 35 years or younger, you should start with E4 openings and maybe a Sicilian defense. If you are older, like say 40 years or older, you should be playing D4 or C4 openings or knight F3, and maybe play D5, Nimzo Indian, I don't know. If your opponent plays D4, they play D5, more symmetrical looking things. Because, oh, Hesperos Mariposa says, E4 openings are very tactical and complicated. They're all about calculation, mostly. And the younger you are, the better you are at calculating. The older you are, the more you're going to screw up because you're not as good of a calculator. So you're just going to make a lot of mistakes in very complex positions. Whereas the D4 openings, the C4 openings, the knight F3, they all sort of transpose into each other, so they're all basically the same. They are less about calculation and more about planning, and you are less likely to make a big mistake because you are put in a very complex position. So that's why I would say the older you are, and you see this with top professionals. When they're young, they play E4 a lot. As they get older, they transpose into like D4 openings because they just can't keep up with young people and their calculations. So they're going to play more openings that are not dependent on perfect precision, perfect precise calculation. You got to understand, as you get old, you just, things go, you know, you're in your prime in your like late 20s, and then it's just all downhill from there. So by the time they reach their 40s, they got to like switch from complex openings to less complicated openings. So that's my answer for that. Chad is here for 9 out of 10 of the streams. That's great. That's a great running. I've been here for 10 out of 10, but you know what? 9 out of 10 is just as good. And by the way, I said E4 for 35 years or less, D4 for 40 years or older. So that 35 to 40, that's like a bit of a gray area. But if anything, probably should prepare for the D4 openings for the long run. Kyoma says, I believe I asked this yesterday, but I was unfortunate enough to join at the end of the stream. So basically, is it worth to play Modern right now with companions around and Wizards of the Coast not changing anything? Do you know what? 20 to 30% of people like how Modern is right now. They just like it. They like companions. I'm in that boat. So if you like that sort of gameplay where each person has a Lurrus, and you're both throwing resources at each other, or you're trying to kill their Lurrus, or trying to position your Lurrus in a way that you get to play it and you keep it, and you keep regurgitating stuff from the graveyard while your opponent doesn't, I would say join Modern. And it's just like the Oko metagame. 50% of people liked it. They liked Oko. They liked the gameplay. They liked how Modern slowed down into like more of a slow mid-range type format. Without Oko, it just went blazing fast again. I think the format's, well, aside from the Yorion decks, the format's relatively fast. So if you're into that sort of thing, jump right in. Just understand that like these Lurrus cards are going to get banned. Like something's getting banned. I don't know exactly what. Like, probably Lurrus, but don't put it against Wizards to ban something like Mishra's Bauble. So just understand that something's going to get banned. This is not forever. This is just temporary. So borrow the cards or whatever. Don't actually buy into it with your own money unless you're willing to like sell it back at the right moment. Victor Ornby, hello Nikachu. Is this playable in Modern Merfolk? That's right. Is something playable in Modern Merfolk? Kyoka66, I have to do the qualifier event in Arena tomorrow, and I've been trying different aggro decks. Do you think I should stick to one of them or play mono red, which I'm well experienced with? If you don't have a lot of time, I would say stick to mono red, because I would say when you don't, if you want to switch decks, give yourself a week. That's my rule. If you want to switch decks on the like at the last minute, the soonest you can give yourself is a week, and you have to start playtesting and preparing. I think experience really does go a long way in a lot of formats. Just otherwise, if you switch to something you're not very experienced with, you're just going to lose miserably. That's just how it is. Experience is one of the advantages, the core advantages you have in Magic the Gathering, and I think you on the mono red deck will do better than people playing maybe better decks, but with less experience. Aklapatsky asks, Nikachu, which of the following scenarios do you think is more probable? 1, they ban Bauble, then Lurrus, or 2, they ban Lurrus. 3, they ban Bauble. 4, change to the companion mechanic. I think banning Lurrus is probably the most probable. I know a lot of people like to think like they're gonna ban Bauble first. Probably not. Maybe early on it looked like that, but now it really looks like Lurrus is just like the problem. And Lurrus will still be played even if Mishra's Bauble is banned, because there's still like the burn decks will play Seal of Fire, and that's like that is pretty good value. Seal of Fire something, Lurrus Seal of Fire again, and loop this for forever. That's bullshit. So they're gonna ban Lurrus eventually. That's just how it is. Handsome Dan says, play Pauper if you hate companions. Yes, you could do that. Okay, what's invincible to companions? Pauper and 93-94. Those are two formats you could get into. Kazimoto says, another question. I'm tired about MTG Arena. How difficult is it to start on Magic Online? What would be the best way to start picking a deck? I guess it depends on the format, but you can go check out MTG Goldfish's metagame to see what you want to play. It is, if you've never played on Magic the Gathering Online, it is awful. I do not have good things to say about getting on Magic the Gathering Online. Yeah, I don't know, watch other people play on Magic the Gathering Online. Like, it is not beautiful. The sounds are garbage. The interface is garbage compared to MTG Arena. You're gonna like click through your turns like by accident. So, I mean, I highly recommend it if you really want to play formats like Pioneer and Modern or Legacy or Vintage. Like, there's nowhere else I can play Modern at a super competitive level, so I have to play there. And like, once you get used to the interface, it's like not that bad, but coming from Arena, it's like super trash. Still highly recommend it if you want to play those formats. And then if you want to find the price of the deck, so MTG Goldfish is going to show you the price of the deck in paper and online. So that's the value of MTG Goldfish. And so maybe you can make a decision based on how expensive you want to spend on that thing. If you want to borrow decks, you can get subscription services from Card Hoarder or Mana Traders. So cardhoarder.com, manatraders.com, go investigate them. Casarino says, Loris is greater than Black Lotus? I guess so. It's going to get banned. Pedro asks, what's your thoughts on blue-black fairies on Modern? Can tempo plays subdue the Loris value decks? Probably not, but that's not to say that fairies is unplayable. Like, I got a 4-1 with a Kiki Fairies deck some time ago. How long ago was this? I don't know, like half a year ago. It was, I think it was after Eldraine came out. I went 4-1, really close to a 5-0 because Pestermite plus Kiki Jiki is an infinite combo. So I think that's like something fairy players have to look for. They need to find some extra kick to make fairies like go over the top, get some free wins. Because at the moment they got like what, one lord? That's not going to do it. So it's hard to push damage. Their creatures are just too weak. So I figured going the blue-red route might be good. And maybe there's like a blue-green route or maybe a blue-white route. They got to explore other things. The blue-black route, it doesn't look like it works because people have been trying this for forever. And if you're maybe I don't know exactly which deck you're talking about. Like, I'm talking about tribal fairies, not this like 2 Bitter Blossoms and 2 Spellstarter Sprites, and the rest of it is a control deck. And then, oh, that's a fairies deck. That is not a fairies deck. That is a basically blue-black control with a few. It's more wizards than fairies because it plays like Snapcaster Mage. So I would, and the control deck's probably not super well played. But if you're well positioned, but if you're talking about like tribal fairies, I think there's potential there because I experienced it. I went 4-1. Almost went 5-0 with a blue-red like Ether Vial Fairies deck, but probably like that sort of control deck doesn't have enough to come over the top of decks like what's it called, like Lurrus. Probably if you went maybe Sultai, that would be enough. Because if you go Sultai, you can add Icefang Quaddle, you can add Uro, and maybe adopt the things that made what's it called. Blue-white and Bant mid-range really good and adopt that into the blue-black deck, like as a control deck. If you were talking about the control deck, maybe that's possible. Again, unexplored, so you know someone's got to make this up. You never know what could happen. Proxy Vintage is awesome. I wouldn't know. David asked, will Wizards of the Coast tone just tone it down with the power creep, or will we just are we just going to get blown out every 3 months? It looked like Rosewater finally got that this mess can't go on for forever. They will definitely tone it down. Wizards of the Coast will listen, but however, you know, in another 4 years, enough R&D can like shake up or rotate that, like, I don't know, someone else has this genius idea for this really great card that's going to cost 0 mana, but now it's fixed. Now this will work. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Am I right? Am I right? Yanchevik asks, where's Lord Magicus? Yeah, where is Lord Magicus? Niels asked, do you think Eldrazi Tron is more skill-based than Tron? I think so. I think it's a little bit more clunky because you don't have the mana as consistently as normal Tron does. So you got to be a little bit more careful with your plays. I find that more patient Eldrazi Tron players do better against me because they're focusing on killing my creatures really early before they play their own creatures. Like, they might have 4 mana up, but they prefer to spend their early turns killing my creatures than to like tap out and play a Thought-Knot Seer. So I don't know, somehow I feel Eldrazi Tron has like more room to play tight than say a Tron deck, and their decisions just matter more. Veron says, hey Nikachu, which Eternal format do you recommend me getting into for the first time? I enjoy playing tempo aggro style decks and played almost exclusively Merfolk last Standard and now Historic. I think you'll like Historic. There's a lot of tempo decks, like between Merfolk, Mono Blue Tempo, and then even if you want to play any of those red aggro decks, if you can feel like that is similar enough, those exist. So there's a lot of Historic lists that you can play. It's all about like aggro and tempo. I would say there are a decent chunk of tempo decks still in Modern, particularly Death Shadow. So which one? So, but between Modern and Pioneer, the things that you have to consider is how good do you feel about playing against powerful cards? Because there's a ton of powerful, you can play with powerful cards in Modern, but you're going to get busted by powerful cards too. So if you can accept that, go into Modern. If you can't accept that at all, go into Pioneer. But I don't know if there's a great tempo deck in Pioneer right now. There will be. I don't know, maybe Spirits is still good, but I hear, like, I don't know, I don't see any Spirits results really right now. It seems like, you know, the companions have destroyed the deck. Maybe we have to play Yorion somehow. But the problem is we don't have any good blink targets. What are some good blink targets for that Spirits? I don't know, there's got to be something. Let's see, what do we got here? Meme Boss says, do you have any other favorite decks other than Merfolk? Not really. It's all Merfolk. Henry Noble says, make Merfolk great again. Yes. Hashtag. Yanchevik. Garen says, Cavern of Souls. I can't remember what that's in reference to, but yes! Cavern of Souls! I should just tweet Cavern of Souls after this and see how many likes and retweets I get. All right, so we're going to go with 3 more questions for today. Good morning, Burned Bee. Benjamin says, dropped on real quick on break to say, what's up, Nikachu? Oh, it's going great. Having a great coffee with Nikachu. Thanks everyone for joining me so far. Love all the questions so far. I knew I would jump in on one of these coffee and chill things with Nikachu. Right, that's right. So if you're watching from your job, give a thumbs up. If you're working hard, you can watch this because your boss isn't paying attention to you with like 2 eyes. So I mean, you have the opportunity to be part of Coffee and Nikachu while being on the job. Alexa asks, opinion on Golgari Elves in Modern. Bad shape. Very, very bad shape because of the removal. Loris has encouraged a lot of removal heavy decks like Burn, Mono Red Prowess, Delver, Death Shadow, Jund, Rakdos decks. It's just removal city. Elves in really bad spot. I like that Golgari combo Elves, really bad spot right now. Elves has to take a different direction to be competitive. Eric asked, what was your first Modern deck? It was Bogles, and I lost 20 games in a row eventually because it was like everyone sided in Spellskite, and then I moved to Merfolk. And it's all history from there. It's Endgame says, Nikachu coffee. It's waves in your cup. Handsome Dan says, Nikachu coffee. Tastes kind of like fish. I don't know if I would sell a lot of coffee with that slogan, Handsome Dan. I'm, you know, I haven't graduated from like marketing school yet, but I would take a good guess that that's not going to work. Don't want the coffee, just the mug. So I think today I'm gonna make sure I get in on the merch. I want to change some of the merch. I think I need to. The mugs are actually awesome. The mugs are like the printing on the mug is great. Like it's such a clean printing. It's really great. But the thing is like when you're using it, there's like nothing on the back. So I'm gonna redesign the mug so that there's like a logo on both sides. There's gonna be like a daytime and an evening side. So that's gonna be coming up. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna make that today, and then. Hopefully I can improve like the actual merch. I'm also get rid of like the Nikachu MTG thing. We're just gonna have the bunny. So merch things coming up. Merch changes. Kyoka says, honestly can't wait for Pioneer to be on Arena. Yes, neither can I. I would love Modern on Pioneer. I would love Modern on MTG Arena. It'd be a huge game changer. Michael agrees I have a very distinctive voice. McVie, hey, welcome. Good morning. Okay, so there's two more questions. Let's see. Grow a beard. So Dan W says, hey Nikachu, do you think the Modern format would be more balanced and ultimately more healthy if there were more hate cards like Stifle, Back to Basics, and Chill, or are unfun cards unnecessary? You know what? I would have thought that those are good cards. The fact of the matter is, people like hate this stuff. Like how many people hate Teferi? How many people hate Veil of Summer? How many people hate Karn the Great Creator and Narset? People just hate these sort of prison-like cards. Like cards that say you cannot do things anymore, they hate them. So Back to Basics is like another Blood Moon in the format. How would I feel about it? I would feel fine. Because like I can like live with these prison cards, but it seems like, you know, it's the prison cards that like make people like really like, oh, like what's going on in this format? Like I can't do anything anymore. So it might be more, it might not be healthy. It might not be healthy. You know, people are moving to Pioneer so that they can avoid this bullshit, these bullshit cards, basically. Trying to find a question from someone who's never asked a question before. Looking. Okay, we got something from Noman. What are your thoughts on Song of Creation Storm, featured on Against the Odds by Saffron Olive? Really enjoyed watching it. I have no opinion because I have no idea what that deck is. Okay, so I'll go to another question because I couldn't answer that one. I never saw the deck. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. David said, did you see the article about how they tried companions back in Tempest and had to scrap them? I've like heard of it, but I never actually saw it. Maybe I'll find another question that I can like give a good answer. Okay, so here's something. Well, I don't know. This is for the Merfolk people. Antonin asks, what is your matchup against Ad Nauseam and Death and Taxes? So my matchup against Ad Nauseam all depends on how much interaction I have. So if I'm really low on interaction, I just can't beat Ad Nauseam. If I'm high on interaction, I'm in good shape, but that doesn't mean I'm out of the woodwork yet. What's important is I also have a pretty good curve of either like a decent chunk of 1-drops into Lords, so I can apply a turn 4 kill or turn 5 kill as soon as possible, so to start forcing my opponent to exhaust Angel's Graces before they can get their combo online. So there's that, and like yeah, I need counter spells, hard counters for things like Ad Nauseam, sometimes Phyrexian Unlife. I think Brazen Bar was very good right now because I can bounce Phyrexian Unlife while I still have a flash speed creature that I can just like flash in at end of turn. I like my Ad Nauseam matchup. Like, if I play Chalice of the Void, that's very good. Chalice of the Void on 0 and 1 can be very good in that matchup. Interaction is great. I love my matchup there. Death and Tax is about even. It's about even-ish. I think they fear us in a way, but they have a lot of interaction against us. We got just Spreading Seas, but then they got, like, Ghost Quarter to, like, destroy their own land. They have flying creatures. Flicker Wisp on Vile is, like, brutal. So I think that's a pretty evenish matchup. And what matters for us is actually have more creatures or things that matter on the board. Dismember, bounce spells, and less counter spells or any fluffy stuff like that. So, all right, that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for... Hey, Johan, you just joined the end of the stream. But it's all good, because there's going to be a stream next Monday. Yeah, we're at the end of this week. So we're not going to have a stream so we're not going to have a stream on Saturday or Sunday. We're going to have a stream on Monday. We're just going to be doing all the weekdays because this is when I have all the free time to do this. Don't forget, as Handsome Dan likes me to remind everyone, if you like the stream, don't forget you can support the stream with super chats and also pledges on Patreon, patreon.com/NikachuMTG. But also, I'm sure there are people waiting to support me on Twitch because that's just how they like to do it. I'm sure I'm going to have a new degree of people who like to support with subscriptions and try to say that they have subscribed for X number of months. I've never experienced it, but I'm sure I will. So that's going to be the stream for today. Thank you very much for joining me. We had a great conversation today. Excellent questions as usual. I love the conversations that we have. I hope it was very insightful and valuable to a lot of people. And I will see you next week. Take care. Have fun. Bye-bye.